In my interview with George Cables, he spoke about how Sonny Rollins asked him to comp for him, which was different from how George originally was playing in the group. And George offers some interesting tips along the way. So first, hear George tell the story of Sonny's request of him, and then hear George offer some interesting comping tips. And after that, you'll see how my AI, Jazzmaster Chat, which uses these interviews and the content of my books as its brain, answered my question about tips offered from other pianists in my interview. And it brought up some interesting ideas from Richie Beirach and Phil Markowitz on how pianists can improve their comping skills. Big question, right?
Yeah, right. Oh, this is very personal. This was Sonny Rollins. I was playing with him, and I was saying, wow, you know, I could do this with his playing and do this with, you know, and kind of play a little against what he's playing or play. That wasn't working with him, you know, and I knew because he told me. He said, George, could you play the regular changes better, more? I was okay, great. Thank you for that. And I will, you know, so I did that. And Joe Henderson, as much as free as he can be, I would try to do that. And he said, quote unquote, George, I think I play pretty good changes. So, so that was, I think, you know, you do that as a learning experience, but play for the person. And I know with Woody Shaw, I could do that. That was what he, you know, you play against the chord or play with him. But even with Woody, he liked to play outside, but sometimes he would say, look, George, sometimes stay home because if you go with me, then there's no contrast. So there were times I'd go and sometimes I would stay home. So basically, it's good to talk with the people you're playing, who you're playing with, and see what they like. And then in the process of playing, try different things. So over time, I found playing with different people, I could kind of tell what they would like, or I'd take a chance and see if they yelled at me or something. But yeah, comping, you want to give people space. Sometimes you want to play for them, and sometimes bass players, a lot of guys lay out for bass solos. And the bass player, I've heard bass players say, you know, how come you don't play for me like you play for them? So a lot of it is just having a conversation with the soloist. And the other part is using your ears and your instincts. But most of the time, you play in the chords, but play them in a way that give a kind of a color. You know, changing the color, playing open chords, playing chords with more a sec of fourths and fifths, whatever. It's like a pianist playing with, when you play with your left hand, thirds, and you play a solo with your right hand, and then you play the same thing with your right hand, but change the voicings with your left hand. That changes things so much. So you can use that as a learning tool, as a point of reference.
And here are the tips Jazzmaster Chat provided from Richie's and Phil's interviews. 1, from Richie Beirach. Richie emphasized the heart-ear-hand process, where the heart generates a feeling that translates into a musical phrase, which then gets executed by the hands. This approach is essential during comping to ensure the accompaniment is both spontaneous and deeply connected to the moment. Richie highlighted the importance of understanding the harmonic context and rhythmic nuances of the soloist to create a supportive and interactive comping environment. Richie talked about limiting the use of the left hand while comping to create more space for the bass and other harmonic elements. 2, Phil Markowitz. Phil emphasized the different comping requirements when playing with various musicians. For example, comping for someone like Michael Brecker required precise harmonic conversations and fitting within a strict time concept, whereas comping for a looser player might allow for more elastic timing. Phil also discussed the importance of listening and reacting in real time to the soloist's needs, whether they demand more harmonic support or rhythmic interplay. Phil suggested studying transcriptions and recordings of pianists who excel in comping, such as Bill Evans, to understand their approach to space, dynamics, and harmonic choices. These insights from experienced pianists illustrate the diverse nature of effective piano comping, which involves balancing harmonic support, rhythmic precision, and interactive listening to enhance the overall musical result.